members of the council. I present to you proposed budget. First, I would just like to take a few moments to recognize members of our office, Sharon Lee, our assistant treasurer collector and payroll, Jen McKittrick, deputy treasurer collector, Joanne Brutus, our secretary accounts payable, Kristen Poley, our assistant collector, and Karen Murphy, our head clerk. Just want to recognize them. We've had a few issues this year with changes in positions due to the loss of one of our other members of the office last year who moved to a more advanced position in the city this year. So we've had some changes in personnel, and it's been a bit of a challenge. Some other issues with just time out, little matters, understandable, that had to be recognized. So I just want to recognize them, the members, because they've all worked together very closely as a team and picked up the slack when we have been shorthanded. Nothing budgetary related to that, just everyone pitching in and crossing over and taking care of the public. One of the busiest offices, as you know, in the city with the traffic on tax bills. Because it's related to taxes and collection, it can be difficult at times, both sensitive issues, both in tax matters, but also on payroll and personal matters, that they all act professionally, keep everything as confidential as we're allowed to. So I just want to recognize each one of them for the work they've done. As far as the budget goes, as you will see, there's just 3 accounts in there that had to have some adjusting, but I was able to, the biggest area is the postage and mailing fees that we're looking for 2026. It looks to be like the post office is going to be increasing postage in July, up 5 more cents, which is a significant increase comparative to prior years. The last time they did a 5-cent increase was 2019, and before that they haven't done one. And also in the last 2 years, they, instead of going once a year, they've gone to a 2 times a year increase in postage. So we're looking at a 5-cent increase. So that is gonna, that impacted our postage and mailing fee, as you can see, up $11,000 change. And then what we did to offset that is the equipment maintenance. We reduced that a little bit. Have some matters in there as far as office equipment that related to repairs and the such. Our equipment is getting old. We have a couple printers that are over 15 years old, but they are workhorses. They're just getting up there in age, and we're probably looking to replace those through the capital budget at some point. But they are still working, but take a little more repair work. So we're able to bring that down a little bit. Additionally, on the lockbox fees, we worked an arrangement with another bank to provide those services for lockbox, which has significantly reduced the costs to the city as far as handling the tax bills and payments. So that's helped offset the increase in postage and mailing. Everything else has been pretty much level budgeted, level funded. So if you have any questions, concerns, be open to asking questions, and I just appreciate your consideration of the proposed budget.
Anybody have any questions? President Dillon.
Thanks, Tim. It looks great. Again, your office does great work. I hear from the public that goes in there. Everyone's treated very well professionally, and you get the revenues in the door and keep the city running. So appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
You and the
Thank you.
staff do a great job.
Thank you.
Any other councilors?
Thanks, Timmy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank
You
you,
and
Tim.
your
Thank
whole
you.
team, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the city clerk, Clerk Higgins. This is page 10. Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Just want to point out we are city council, I'm in charge of the city council, page 1, page 10 for the city clerk's office, page 11 is for elections, the license commission on page 12, board of appeals, page 16, and traffic commission, page 64. So we're finally actually coming up from here from the last year's presidential election cycle for the whole calendar year. We were swamped. It took us a little while, but we're finally catching up on some of the stuff that we need to do. The turnout was it was 72% for the presidential election. So it was higher than our municipal elections, but not as high as some of the other presidential elections we've had. We did get reimbursement from the state for early voting and vote by mail costs, as well as a capital expenditure. They reimbursed us for the high-speed tabulator that you appropriated in fiscal year 2024. We will be using all our accounts this year, pretty much like every year. This year, we asked for some increases. We got an increase on page 10 for dues. Also, the mayor and Charlie had added some money for the overtime account, which we really were just pulling out of the election worker account. I did ask for some other requests for on the elections, page 11, for increasing in election workers, election printing and automation, and census postage. I think we can skate by this year with some reimbursement money, but next year we definitely need to have those accounts increased. We've been dipping into those accounts. We actually may have a citywide preliminary election in August, and so we pay for our ballots. We pay for our census postage and census mailings every year. So if we have the municipal election citywide, that will be a big hit to the budget. So I just want everyone to be aware of that. Hopefully we'll be able to get through, though. That's for that. And then last year, we did get some administrative support costs for the licensing commission and board of appeals, which really, even though they were small amounts, it really helped with our costs for paper and other office supplies in the office, and especially ink, because we do a lot of printing in our office. So thank you for that. I just want to mention that I did put a little bug in the ear of the mayor and Charlie that next year I will be asking for a part-time employee in the office. We're at the point where we're completely busy all the time. If one person's out, it really throws the whole office out. We are one of the busiest offices in the city hall, especially for the public. I would say the treasure collectors is definitely the busiest, but we're right there too. I don't want to get too much into that because that's for next year, but I want you guys to be aware of that now. Capital budget requests, I want to let you know, I appreciate the mayor, the former mayor, and as well as you all for all your help the last few years with the capital budget with all the election equipment and election tools that we have been able to purchase over the years. The poll pads that you guys approved last year, they have been ordered. They will be here in time for the August election, if we do have that election in August. So we will be using poll pads going further. I did ask for this year in the capital budget, and I was told that, I believe it's on there, the election reporting software I did request this year. It's for end-of-night election reporting. My predecessor, Bill Campbell, asked for it for numerous years, throughout the administrations, and he never quite got it. This will help us tremendously at the end of the night. If you're doing the math out, especially in a state primary when we had last year, when we had three elections because of the three different parties, I'm doing over 90 precincts, manually entering it into a Excel spreadsheet, and that's not even the number that you times for all the races, blanks, and all that. So it's quite a lot of input. We do have formulas on there and everything to check everything, but it's a slow process. I think Gordon and I were here till almost 3 in the morning one night doing a lot of inputting, making sure everything was correct with the math. So that will help us tremendously on election night. Also, we'll get the elections from the polls right away. So when that comes up, please look for that, and I appreciate your support on that. And then finally, I just want to thank the staff. We had a very hard year last year. We had a couple leaves coming into the calendar year, and then everybody stepped up. We were thrown right into the presidential primary election in March. We were out straight. We had a little breathing room in September, but then the vote by mail ballots had to be out again for the state primary. So we were nonstop all last year. So I really want to thank Diane, Gordon, Colleen, and Jen in my office for stepping up to the plate. I really do appreciate it. And that's it. Any questions?
President Dillon?
Thank you. Lindsay, you do a great job. We sit here and we have many votes, particularly myself going into 6 years here, and there's one that I never doubt, was to vote for you for city clerk. It was the right vote then, and you proved it every day since then. Wonderful job. You give us great direction, great guidance, and to do what you do with the clerk's office, the elections, helping city council, running city council, the way you help us, it's truly remarkable. And again, I'm in there quite a bit, as you know, for guidance, and I appreciate that. And of course, Diane and Colleen and Gordon and Jennifer, all of them. Just, I see how they interact with the public, and it's a great deal you got going there. It really is a well-run office, and I appreciate everything you do for the city council and for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Mercer Bruin?
Echo everything President Dillon says. The only thing that I miss is having you up here as serving on the council. It was a great joy to work with you up here, and an even greater joy having you run that office. And you didn't miss a beat. And Billy was a tough act to follow, and you didn't miss a beat. Neither did your team. I hear it from the public all the time, how wonderful it is to go in there. We couldn't do what we do without you and your team, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glad to hear you getting that software, because I can't even imagine.
I think. I haven't physically seen it, but I was told.
Well, now that it's been said out loud. Anyway, thank you.
Councilor DeMambro?
Lindsay, you do a great job. Your team, second to none. Your office is extremely busy. You give so much support, you and Gordon and Colleen and Diane and Jennifer. You guys give us all kinds of support, and we appreciate it, and I just want to thank you for everything you've done and all the questions and phone calls that you field and everything else, and plus helping out the public. And, you know, our city's lucky to have you and your team. Thank you.
Any other councilors? Lindsay, I want to thank you for everything you and your department do. You all do a great job, especially when it comes to these meetings and everything else, as everybody else has alluded to. And I want to thank you for all the times you've yielded phone calls for me for issues with Ward 7. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to make a reminder that your your packets for the next meeting are out in your mailboxes to take them tonight, if you can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the purchasing department. Orazio, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone.
Page 5.
Hello. What's up, Orazio? How's everybody doing tonight?
Very
Thank
good.
you.
You?
Excellent, thank you, excellent. So, pretty straightforward for my department. It's a two-man show, myself and Mary Stewart. Again, straightforward, we've asked for level funding. It doesn't take much to operate our department. We try to do more with less and find innovative ways to procure certain things in the city and just do our job a little bit more effectively. You may see a little bit of an increase in the budget under the postage. To reiterate some of the things Tim said, unfortunately, we're dealing with outside elements here. It's the United States Postal Service. They're going to increase costs, and the purchasing department carries the budget item or the line item for the budget for postage, so you'll see an increase in our budget for that reason. But I think everything else is pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Councilor DeMambro?
Orazio, thank you for always sharpening the pencil on the costs and how you do. I've sat in numerous department head meetings with you on Thursdays, and it amazes me how you got your book and you got your catalog and you flip through it, and you always have an answer. I mean, hands down, you do a great job, and thank you for all the work you do and saving the city as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
President Dillon?
Again, absolutely, like Councilor DeMambro, I really didn't see what you did until I started going to the department head meetings and been invited by the mayor to sit in on those. And it's just another aspect that the teamwork that this city hall has and how everyone works together, and you're a big part of that, and you do a great job. You and
Thank
Mary,
you.
thank you for your efforts, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. I always say it, I love my job. I have the best job in the city, so I appreciate it.
Any other councilors? No. Razio, thank you for everything you and
Thank
your
you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful evening,
Thank
everyone.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Next on the agenda is the Assessors Department on page 6. Good evening, John.
Evening, councilors. Evening, Mayor.
John?
Before I get started, I'd just like to introduce our Board of Assessors and also the staff. So we have with us tonight Bob McGuire in the audience, Chairman of the Board of Assessors, Board Member Laurie Maderas, and unfortunately David Rufo, the other board member, couldn't be with us tonight. I would also like to just once again thank my staff. My big comment in the office is, if they don't get things right, the information I provide to you at the classification hearing just is not the correct information and won't be successful. So I'd like to recognize the staff, and I'd also like to introduce finally a new employee to the assessing office. So we finally have another residential appraiser in the office, so I'd like to recognize first Jane Ventresca, a senior residential appraiser, and Adam Clark, if you could stand up, please, just so they can see who you are, a new residential appraiser.
Very good.
Why this is very important for us is we're required under DOR standards to do cyclical inspections within the city, and that's under Massachusetts law. Due to being short-staffed, once again, a credit to Jane. She was out there doing it by herself, and we were not quite where we wanted to be, so this is going to basically put us over the hurdle. So now we'll be at the forefront of our cyclical inspections, which we always want to be, meeting those DOR requirements. So the other thing I would like to do is recognize our clerks, Rita Nye and Patty Doyle. They're the front lines at the counter, and their customer service is unparalleled. We have a lot of seniors, veterans that come in, total 298 were given exemptions this year. So there's other people that also come to us and inquire about those exemptions. So they're doing a butters list, dealing with the public, excise tax. So there's a lot going on in our office, and they're at the front lines at the counter, so I'd like to thank them also. Now, getting to our budget, if you look, there's really, outside of the contract negotiations for salaries, there's not really a lot of change. Basically, there was a $2,950 increase in the department, and a lot of that was due to just increases in some of the services that we utilize. So our GIS mapping went up, and also some of our data services that we utilize in the city. The big thing we want to make sure that the board realizes, the council realizes, is that our use of modern technology is not only making us more cost-effective for the taxpayer, but also being more efficient in the office. So we utilize what they call a mobile assessor, which is an iPad that they take out into the field, so they're able to actually go out, do the cyclical inspections, and they're actually tied into the vision camera system. So a lot of communities will be out there, they physically get the information, write it down, then they have to go back into the office and enter that information. The great use of this software and this tool is that they're out in the field, they enter that data, and then it's uploaded when they get back to the office. So as far as on efficiency in the office, it's a true benefit to not only, having less staff, but also tax savings to the public. So we do use technology. Another thing you may have heard from some of the other departments is NAIR maps, which actually the Department of Revenue also utilizes, so we can speak the same language regarding property. But it's not just us that utilizes that tool. So there's engineering, DPW, police, fire. What it does is give you aerial views, 360 views of a property. So we can also go and utilize that tool if someone doesn't let us on their property. We can physically get up-to-date data. So as we're working on this information currently, the most up-to-date aerial data we have is in April. So it's current, real information that really helps us do our job more efficiently. So we do try to run a tight budget, and we do realize that costs do go up, but we are aware of that for the taxpayer, and we make every effort to make sure that our money is well spent. That being said, if there's any questions from the council.
President Dillon?
John, thank you for everything you and your staff do. It's amazing. Not only are you able to do what you do every year and get it done and get it out and get the bills out for us so we know what we're getting in. But with the new changes coming from government, as an example, the ADUs, I think you're one of the guys that knows how to deal with it before it even comes to us. So you're on top of everything, and that's a real compliment for you because it's so hard to keep up with all the changes. It's amazing that you folks are able to do it as well as you do stay right on it.
Thank you. The ADU is actually a hot button for us. Unfortunately, the Mass DOR has not really recognized how they want to classify those properties yet. So what we're doing in-house is we're making sure in our Vision Camera system, which is the computer-aided mass appraisal system that we utilize as our valuation software, that we're recognizing those parcels. So that way, if something all of a sudden, the switch does turn and they're saying how they want these valued, because there's got to be a uniformity and conformity for how they want to do this throughout the state. So we're pressuring them, as long as a lot of other local assessing departments, to try to get an answer to that. But what we're doing in the meantime is we're making sure that if they do, we have them recognized in our system so that if there is a new class code that comes into use for those, we're ready to switch over in a heartbeat, so.
From my point, you're being proactive and a step ahead of the game. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council Papalato?
Thank you. Hey, John, you guys do an extremely professional job up there, the whole staff. Every time I've ever been in there, they're awesome. I do have just a quick question, or clarification on something. So you have one TBD line that's appraiser level 1?
Yeah, so what we've actually done in speaking with the mayor and trying to, once again, realizing being cost-effective for the taxpayers of the city, we have been unsuccessful in the commercial position, and speaking with other appraisers in downtown Boston that are trying to hire on the private side, that's still very difficult. That doesn't mean that we're not looking, but we do not feel that we'll be able to get that in an immediate time frame. So once again, trying to have that line item still in place. If we do find someone, we'll have to address that. But, you know, it's just very difficult right now trying to find a commercial appraiser in the
Yep.
market, so.
What jumps out at me here, though, is you got a $97,000 salary, but
Yep.
the recommendation is for half of that. So what's up with, what's
Well,
happening?
kind of what's up with it is we've had this fully funded for over 3 years, and we haven't been able to find, you know, the correct person to fill the position, so. We want to fill that position, we just haven't found it, so, you know, we're hopeful, but we're not truly hopeful in the near future, so we're saying if we do find someone, then we'd have to have another further discussion, just, it's tough. I mean, there's getting to be less commercial appraisers, they're all like me, gray heads, so there's not a lot of youth going into the field, which is, you know, hampering it even further, so. That line item is there. We did agree to kind of reduce that to half and see if we can find someone, you know, towards later in the year. So, I mean, and the hiring process, let's face it, for municipalities is not immediate, as I'm sure Adam can attest to it. It really does. It takes months between interviews and then finally getting someone hired. So, once again, you know, we're trying to be proactive and realize, you know, the budget constraints for the city as costs are going up. So, our department's trying to be as cooperative as we can, so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Council DeMambro?
John, you and your staff do a great job up there, and I appreciate everything you're doing for the seniors, taking the time to answer all their questions and their concerns, as well as the veterans. And kind of an offshoot to that, you know, how are we looking on receipts for commercial business? Because as we always discuss, it does help and it offsets the tax base for our residents. And I'm just curious, you know, I know there's a lot of up and down and fluctuation going on with commercial and industrial.
Yeah, so we're in the
What's your
process
office
right
seeing?
now, because every year we send out the 38D information, which is the income expense information, as well as analyzing the sales, and then also looking at the costs. So we're still in the data gathering mode, so, but as far as on, if you're looking at what's going on in the general market, there's not a lot going on the commercial market. I mean, let's be honest, the council sees it when people are coming before them for approvals. You know, there's just not a lot of activity due to the lending environment, and as we know what's going on nationally, you know, the lab market has been pretty much crucified, and the additional national funding hasn't helped. So, you know, there's bright spots for the city, though. Like, we have so many projects that are shovel-ready, you know, so if people, this market does turn around commercially, industrial, the new Boston Street Bridge, once again, revitalization going on. So it's another opportunity that I think once this commercial market and things get settled and things do turn around, we're ready for it. And, you know, being like a platinum community for the biotech industry, that means that, you know, fast permitting, getting ready to go. So being a shovel-ready community with a lot of these approvals through zoning and everything in place, it's a positive. I mean, but as far as on what's really going on out there, not a lot.
And the retail and the restaurant businesses seem to be doing
Yes, so
pretty good.
the retail, we don't have a lot of retail in Woburn, which, you know, depending on how the market goes, it's a good sign. The retail market right now in Woburn is strong. There's not a lot of vacancy going on. One of the things that we've seen here is you'll be seeing a lot of the national franchise restaurants on the retail component for the fast casual. They seem to be struggling, and you're starting to see a lot more niche restaurants, marketers looking to come into the area. So that's kind of also a positive trend that's starting to happen. You know, with the new barbecue place up in North Woburn, we've had Surf. People, there's just been a trend that people like to have those kind of not even upper restaurants, but that next level up from your fast casual dining. So, and I mean, we've seen it with the fast casual. You know, Applebee's is gone. We've seen, I'm trying to think of the other few that we've had go. Bertucci's is gone. So we've had a few of those where that kind of, you know, national casual dining has kind of gone away, but it's not just here, it's kind of overall. So we're seeing that kind of trend, you know, taking place in New England.
Well, I appreciate all your expertise, and I appreciate you bird dogging the city and getting as many receipts as you can. Thank you, sir.
Any other councilors have comments or questions? Well, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Next on the agenda is the Law Department on page 8. Yeah, Joe, can you?
No, I gotta get going.
Oh, you're talking about like. Sure, wish a little bubblies.
Good evening.
Good evening, all. Much like Orazio, we are a two-person office. I have to give shout out to Teresa Borelli, who does a phenomenal job. Makes me look like I don't do anything wrong when I do. She's basically handled over 90 contracts this year and get them all processed. So she's doing a great job, and I'm glad to see that she's now a administrative assistant and paid as such. Not a big ask. We're not doing anything different, so a level funding request. I'm actually ahead of the game for legal assistance, and we're down for almost everything else other than salaries. I actually got rid of Westlaw this year, so that's going to be a savings, and we really don't spend very much money in that office other than to buy some coffee. So with that, I'd be glad to take any questions.
President Dillon?
Mark, thank you again for you and Teresa. Do great work in there. I've been in there a number of times, asking your advice on particular things, and you're always very helpful. And if you don't have the answer, you get it and get it right back to me in a quick manner, which is appreciated because many of us, some of us, are attorneys on the council, but many of us aren't. So we really rely on you when we go to bat on a certain situation. So it's much appreciated, everything you and Teresa do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other councilors? No. Mark, thank you for always being there to
Thanks,
answer
Mark.
questions.
Yep.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
good night.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is conservation on page 14. Good evening.
Good evening, members of City Council, Mayor. I really want to start off just by thanking you all. You have been so supportive of the Conservation Commission. Last year at this time, I requested that you pass the budget. I am so grateful. Since that time, the Conservation Department has a head clerk. Our new head clerk, I'm happy to report, is fabulous. She's a great asset to the city, a great asset to the Conservation Department. She is highly intelligent, she is motivated, she's a quick learner, she is fantastic with the public, just a really personable and wonderful person, and the city is really fortunate to have her. I'm also very fortunate to have Samantha Langone, who is the Community Gardens Coordinator. She's doing a fantastic job. They just opening up for the season and getting all the signups ready. So that's really great. We've had a great year with different programs, Conservation Day. Thank you. I know many of you are out there. Our tree program, which was very successful. We sold out all of our trees. And the community gardens, which I mentioned. So things are really great. I'm very happy to say in the Conservation Department. Feel very fortunate, and I think this is a fantastic city, and I really appreciate the support that we get from all of you, and also from my coworkers and the other department heads. It's, the city can be really proud of the people who work here, and I thank you for that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
President Dillon?
Thank you. Again, your team does great work. I'm glad we're getting you out from under the staircase and getting you in the proper office. Is it long overdue? Thank you, Mayor Concanon. You and I got to sit a little bit during Conservation Day. I knew you enough to say hello in a brief conversation, but it was nice to sit with you and the others and get to learn, kind of in an informal way, just how much you do. And maybe I was a pest that day asking all the questions, but it did broaden my horizon, just how busy in the scope of work you do. I've made a few conservation meetings, and it's very complicated. It's very direct on what you're dealing with. They do a great job as well. But it was a nice day to be able to sit and do a little learning, just what your office does. Typically, you put me to work pulling weeds or something, but I got a pass this year, so,
Just this year, though.
yeah, I'm
But you
sure.
also, you brought us great weather, so I appreciate that.
I
'Cause
worked
it,
on
wa-
that.
it was supposed to pour all day, and I gave one task to
One
you,
job
and you
for
did
me
it.
to make sure it was a good day, and I came through with it.
You did.
But thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilor Campbell?
Yeah, hi Teresa. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled that you have a head clerk. I'm thrilled that it's going well. We fought for years, finally got someone. It just must be a relief for you because the amount of work that you had to do really by yourself was incredible. And I don't know how you did it, honestly.
I don't either. And truthfully, now that I have a fantastic head clerk, I'm just like, how do they function? Because we're still very, very busy, but it's
Yes.
just it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Very good thing.
And thank you so much for everything you do for the city with the conservation. And once again, congratulations that you have someone.
Thank you.
Councilor Mercer Bruin?
Teresa, we just had a quick little hall meeting. We always meet in the hall, always.
too.
And it just so happens it's because your office, there's not enough room to sit in it. So I'm so happy for you. And I'm so proud of the work that you guys do. You have worked with me in Ward 5 for many, many years. And I'm appreciative of the things you do. And thank you for your advice today on that situation with the flooding. I appreciate it. Again, keep up the good work. I can't wait. Are you going to have a little ribbon cutting at the office?
I don't know. Possibly.
Very happy for you.
Thank you.
Well deserved and
Thank you very
long
much.
overdue.
Counselor DeMambro?
Teresa, thank you for everything you do in your department. Congratulations on your new team player down there. It seems like, I don't know how you did it all by yourself, but it seems like you're working through it. I just want to give a shout out to the community gardens. Everybody is so supportive of that. I've heard more and more compliments to the point people are clamoring to get more spots and more plots. So it's a huge success down there, and I want to thank you and Samantha, and you guys do a nice job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Teresa, I want to thank you and your staff for everything you do. I always enjoy going to the Conservation Commission meetings because no matter what, I learn something new every time I go. And then the community gardens as well, they're a beautiful thing for the city. I was just recently down there last weekend, so people were starting to plant and situate the areas, but I usually go down beginning of the season, end of the season, and it's amazing what's done down there. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Any other comments from the council? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Teresa.
Next on the agenda is the Council on Aging on page 50.
Good evening,
evening.
members of the council, Mayor Concanon, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Just a top line about the budget. I'd like to thank the council, and Mayor, I'd like to thank you for your support, especially in the capital improvement area. We got one new van last year. We're online to get another new van. Big shout out to State Rep Rich Haggerty and Rep Sicolo. I always say it wrong, but we're in the midst of, we had a purchase order for the van, getting the funding, so $75,000 will come from the state for that. In terms of just the budget, so if you take a look at the city budget, the salaries are paid for by the city, like my entire salary, but if you look, a lot of it is offset also by our state formula grant. So that's the Executive Office of Aging Independence, which is a new term for the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. A euphemism, but I get it. It sounds okay to me. And so some of the things, let me see. So the salaries, my whole salary and a portion of the transportation programs, outreach is, and I'll get to that in a minute because we do remain short-staffed, but is paid for by, comes out of the grant fund. So funds, so that, let's see, the grant, yeah, office, so it's 152,000. It's a formula. It seems like it's steady right now, which is great. So it's 152,000. About 79,000 is salaries. The rest is supplies, programs, my senior center fee, the software that we used, MCO education fees, the community garden, which is also managed by our transportation coordinator, so shout out to her too. But pays for a lot of different things. We really, are grateful also for that funding and for our Friends Helping Seniors. So we try to make sure that we are self-sustaining, like the Friends Helping Seniors, our weekly pizza and a movie. They take care of that. They put up a lot of the money up front and do it to a loss and continue to raise money. They pitched in $20,000, for instance, for the 14-passenger van. So it's incredible. It's all these people, Woburn seniors, raising money to help pay and make sure that we are efficient and we don't, that we can help pay for things and remain efficient. So it's pretty incredible. I have the best job. Did I say that? No, somebody else said that. I can't remember who said that. But so we serve about 250 people a day. Now that's phone calls, people walking in. The last fiscal year in our annual report, there were 6,509 people, unique individuals that we served in one way or the other. It's getting busier, I can tell you. I think that I saw some, let's see. I saw that. I think that I know I saw some figures about, look, the baby boomers are coming up. I could see it with Shine appointments, people turning 65. Thank you very much, Mayor. The increase for demand is off the charts. So over the last year, we've had 1,200 hours of service hours. People are in a panic, partly because of what's going on at the federal level. You know, we haven't had an outreach worker. We've been through maybe 4 rounds now, Mayor. And Samantha's been great. Our staff has stepped up. The Shine counselors, there's 3 Shine counselors, over about 700 people they've served. They wrote a note to the mayor to express, which he already knows, to express the dire need, saying that clients they see now are often frail, getting more frail, suffering from memory loss, easily overwhelmed with planning and decisions, confused and frightened. They're frightened by the news. And this program is on the chopping block. So that's 700 people being served. That's on the chopping block. So they work through Minuteman. Minuteman, I don't know if you know, it's a federally designated area agency. So that's for the state, it's an Aging Services Access Point. They call them ASAPs. We depend on them a lot. So they run the Meals on Wheels program, which is stable right now, I'm told. And our funding for our formula grant is stable. But some of this other stuff isn't. Social Capital Inc., who runs our leaf raking program, the volunteers, the AmeriCorps funding has been cut. And Minuteman reports that right now, programs that are being zeroed out include Healthy Living, the Ombudsman programs, and the Shine program. So, yeah. So we've depended on them. I mean, we've really depended on them, and they are overwhelmed because we have not been able to find a person who's qualified in the last 4 rounds for an outreach. I think last year we were here, I talked about a social worker. We changed it to outreach coordinator. Through the contract negotiations, the salary came up. It just didn't come up enough. They said that it didn't meet their needs. So, I mean, I think that the mayor and I and Shauna have talked about going back to the union, which I actually have, and I'm hoping that because the money comes out of the state formula grant, that we can find a way to move that up a little bit so we can get somebody we need. If we lose those Shine counselors, honestly, I don't know how we can keep it up. And our staff, I can't say enough, Amy O'Brien, Catherine Shaughnessy, the Shine counselors, Samantha has pitched in, because we care, but it reaches a certain point where you can feel it, the demand getting worse. And I'll just give you an example. In the last week, an 89-year-old senior was abandoned by her adult child. Absolutely abandoned. And, we worked with fire, we worked with, obviously, with a services agency and got her to a hospital and got her the care that she needed, but absolutely abandoned. And I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 other instances in the last 2 weeks that have taken all of my time, and it's heartbreaking stuff. In some places, I think some people just don't know where to go. Housing, long-term housing is hard to come by. Senior housing is hard to come by. So these people are facing, and they're 89, 90. This one was 95. Sometimes their children are out of state. Sometimes they don't have any children. This one gentleman came in, and he is upside down in a reverse mortgage. He lives around the corner from the senior center. His wife passed away. She had handled all the bills. And he's upside down and going to be out of his house. There was nothing left on the limit on that. So these are complex matters. People are frantic with the loudness of the budget talks federally, the cuts that are coming. I know the cuts that are coming with us, and I meet with the other directors all the time. So it's really urgent that we find somebody, and I know the mayor, we're working to do that, to figure out how to do that, to go back to the union and see. I mean, this position, because it was totally funded by the state formula grant, it wasn't in the union, but the person that held the position before really wanted to be in the union. So I fought for that because she was really terrific, and she, you know, but I think the needs have really increased even since that time. So, so I guess I just appreciate your support. I mean, the people in the building, Bob Davis, Donna Diorio, I can't say enough about them, working together to try to figure out solutions. Again, Samantha has helped, and so we're just going to work toward that. So you should know about it. I mean, I know I've spoken to the mayor about it. Samantha knows very well about all of this, with one woman who's staying in an extended stay. In some of the cases, some of these apartments and things and people coming into Woburn, they're landing in the schools, but they're also landing at our doorstep. And it requires somebody who knows what they're doing to really help. So I can't emphasize that enough. I think that we've held it together for, it'll in the fall will be 2 years. So we've held it together, but I just don't see it. I mean, at some point, there are 271 people we served for the AARP tax program. That's a lot of administration, setting up. And we have a part-time receptionist, and she's terrific. I mean, and maybe at some point, if things really, we see that, I would come back, and maybe next year we'll have another discussion about another, you know, another staff member. But, you know, volunteers come and go. I've got tax work-off people. They're great, but they come and go. So, you know, there's a lot of great things going on up there. We have, you know, tons of exercise programs. There's a lot of joy. It's a place, it's a drop-in community center, you know, but people don't know where else to go. I mean, we have, you know, music. We've got a lot of cultural council grants. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Our cookout is June 18th. So these are all really fun things, but there's the other side of it that you know, everybody should know about, because I know everybody cares, and we've done the best we can to, you know, to manage it, but we really need somebody who's qualified. So that's probably like my biggest thing. We're working with the mayor on a new walking path around the building. On the side where we do Meals on Wheels, there's a lot of traffic, and so my heart has skipped a few beats a few times when people are trying to walk in between it. So the engineering department's working with them to do a walking path around, but we got to make sure we don't, you know, bother the pickleball players. And, oh, we've got about 200 pickleball players, by the way. It's working out all right, right? And this year we did a $25 annual registration fee, so that will help defray any other costs for a new net, or I know I've got to get a new blower. And I think the new software, so they're paying for their own software. It's Sign Up Genius, so it keeps it out of the bigger pickleball world. And during operating hours, people who are members get first dibs on, own the courts. And then afterward, anybody can.
You may want to encourage some of the counselors to maybe
Come
up
on
with
over.
pickleball. I know
Come on
Darlene's
over.
probably really good at it.
It's worked out really well.
I played tennis back in the day, but I'm not retired, Bill. I don't have pickleball time like you.
I should acknowledge one of our members and a pickleball player, Susan Carpenter, helped us with the my Sign Up Genius. She helped us export the information from our software, My Senior Center, into My Sign Up Genius, and she also offers free beginner pickleball lessons. She's really been terrific, Susan. If you're out there watching, thank you. So we do it with a lot of people and a lot of hard work, and I know I mentioned Catherine and Amy and Terry Nardone and Paul Medeiros, who we're losing, so I can't talk about that. I'll get emotional.
Have a tournament, Marie. If you have a tournament, I would love to come and watch.
We're talking
Councilor
about
Papalato.
I'd like
rule it on the courts. Yeah,
It would be fun to have a fundraiser or some kind of
I think that would be a lot of fun.
So we're losing Paul, and I want to acknowledge Paul Medeiros because he has gone, we've known each other for a long time. I know we share the same work ethic. He has gone above and beyond. He can fix anything. You know, he acts tough, which is good for me because he could be the tough one. Now I'm going to have to be. But he helped us keep things in order. He worked hard. His knee is killing him. He still did it. I know his nemesis, the fountain. He was out there today. And I know the DPW was out there trying to, it keeps leaking. So, he'd fill it up and then we'd look and it's leaking. So, we expanded that whole courtyard. We've got the garden, we've got the pickleball courts. We're working on a walking path. So things are good. They're good. But there are people suffering, and the addition of somebody else, I'm just looking for support for that. I know I have it with you, Mayor, and so we're going to work on that to get that done as soon as we can.
President Dillon.
We do a great job. It truly does sadden me when I hear about some of these seniors, the hard times they fell upon. Because I look at these seniors the same way as I look at our veterans. This is why we had the great life and the liberties we have here today. Because the seniors worked very hard to hand over the city of Woburn to us in a great place. And they should not have to be falling upon hard times like this. So whatever I can do, and I'm sure I speak for the council, whatever we can do goes without saying. It's just a sad situation. But I think we all have to look towards our state government and our federal government to smarten the heck up and do the right thing and take care of our people that really need to be taken care of. When you see it firsthand like you see it, it's got to be a very hard burden to carry.
Yeah, we're all people. We're professionals, but we're people. That we have a saying at the senior center is getting old isn't for sissies.
I second that.
And the other one is never give up. I see tremendous kindness. I see a lot of unbelievable humanity. There are just so many great people up there. So.
Well, and again, I'm there for the programs, and I see the wonderful work you do, and everyone, the place is always clean as a whistle and shining, and everyone's happy. And I'll tell you, I recently retired, and you saw me come in as a client to get some help with the Social Security, because Part A, Part B, E, and C had me laying awake at night saying, maybe I should have kept working, it would have been easier. But one meeting in there, and I came out of there with my wife, and we clearly understood it. So you're doing great work, you and your people, and it is greatly appreciated. So continue. I know it's not an easy deal, but keep up the good work.
Never give up.
And say thank you to everyone.
I will.
Council Papalato.
Thank you. I truly hope that you can get this position filled, because I know you need it. I've been up there a lot. I see what goes on. There's a lot of activity happening. There's a lot of people coming in that door every day. But despite all of those problems, when you walk in that building, there's a certain vibe that's in there, and it's pretty cool. And I think that's a reflection on you and the whole staff of the people that are up there to support the seniors. And there's some interesting people up there. Great conversations I've had with a lot of them, and it's been a pleasure to be up there. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Councilor DeMambro.
Marie, you do a phenomenal job up there. That senior center, since I got on the council, I've been praising it because I see it every single day. I'm a half a dozen doors down from it. I see it's a huge success, not only for all the events you have up there and the social gatherings, but the informational aspect of it. You help a lot of seniors, get in touch with the information that they're not sure what they're even asking for, but they know they need help. And that's one thing I can say about you and your staff. You're always there to help them. I am extremely horrified to hear that there's 90-year-old people out there struggling and being basically abandoned. I hate hearing that. That breaks my heart. Our state legislators in our state house better start rethinking where they distribute money and who they take care of. We should be taking care of our seniors and our veterans. I've said that since day one. So hopefully we can reach out, if there's a body of the council and yourself, to our legislators and say, hey, you got to start focusing in on these things, because it is a serious problem. I am in support of your budget wholeheartedly. I hope you can find that outreach coordinator. I know things are hard these days, finding qualified people. We've been hearing it over and over again with certain, department heads are coming in and they're saying it all the time. They just don't want to put someone in there. They want someone qualified. And, quality is hard to come by, I guess, these days. So we wish you well on that. And anything we can do to help and support you, I'm in favor of. You do a great job, and your staff does a great job. Kathleen and everybody up there, they do a great, great job. And anything we can do to help you, please let us know. Thank you.
Marie, thank you for everything you do and your staff. I've never heard anything negative about the senior center. It's always positive. I know seniors that go up there, they enjoy it thoroughly, especially some that go to the woodworking and wood carving.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
You should see some of the stuff they make.
I have a family member that goes there that does it, so yeah.
Video's great.
And just so you know that with this time of the year, it does weigh heavily on the council budget time, knowing that if we do approve budgets without cuts, it can affect these seniors. So it does keep us up at night. So please let them know we are thinking of them. Any other councilors have any comments?
Thanks.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Marie.
Next on the agenda is library on page 53. Yep. Yep.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's always a pleasure to be here. I feel like I've been to municipal boot camp, because one of the things I love about this meeting is that you get to hear what's happening in other departments, and, we tend to know what's really going on in our department. But I was heartbroken listening to Marie and, all the challenges with seniors. Usually, I give lots of presentations, but this one here means a lot to me because it gives me a chance to really kind of brag on the library and to let you know all the great stuff that's happening, because I know everyone's busy and you may not get over to the library as often as you would like to, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. So I'm just going to share some slides, and then we'll talk about what's happening. So there's a beautiful photo of the library in this one here, and you can see we're an award-winning library, and we've gotten the American Institute of Architects, and then we've got some grants that we won that are really making a difference to the work that we're doing. Just a little bit of a reminder, state-of-the-art art building, and it's really a unique building, and we hear that every single day. And I know if you've been to the library or you brought people over there, people are very excited about just being in the space, and I'll show you some of the things that people say. So I just wanted to remind everybody our mission is to connect the community to resources, services, and experiences that educate, enrich, and entertain. And we have a vision to provide service to everyone in our community. So workforce development, civic engagement, different cultures as our city, changes, our demographic shift. We are the place that we're really trying to work with all of our families and all of our different communities in the city. And let me see. I don't want to miss anything here. Give me a second. Okay, so, went too far. Okay, so these are some, this year I thought, instead of in the usual graphs and charts of how things are going, I wanted to give it a personal touch, and I wanted you all to see the impact of the work we do. So I sent something out to the team, and I said, send me stuff that you've experienced with the people that you serve. And so these are some of the notes that the teen librarian, the impact of the teen librarian. Erin, thank you for helping me get into the Junior Honor Society, one of those notes read. And dear Miss Erin, you're the best librarian I know. And then I want to draw your attention to this on the left here, and it's wordy, but I'm going to read it because it's from a parent. I moved to Woburn 2 years ago, and the library has been really important to both of my girls, but particularly Adriana. She was very sick last year, and we nearly lost her. Simultaneously, we were going through difficulties in the family and relocation, and it was just overwhelming. Erin's programs have been a safe space for her and helped her smile again. I'm incredibly grateful. So that's real impact on people's lives. It is, Erin is doing a really great job with the help that she gets in the team. And these are other testimonials. As you can see, there's our staff. The pictures there, we were celebrating National Library Week, and a couple of the staff members thought, why don't we have a different theme every day? So we all dressed up, and it's just our way of, yes, we're busy, but there's always time for fun. And these are some of the comments from people. One patron said she goes to several libraries, but ours is her favorite. Parents talking about playtime, the dances, some of the new programs we have here. Thank you for bringing the community together. Senior attending our movie history lectures. You're doing great. I enjoy everything. The International Chocolate Program from an adult attending. Thank you for the wonderful work. And from a senior attending the Caring for Your Family papers. Lots of positive feedback, and so that's some of the work that's happening in our archives. Again, testimonials from, there's the Massachusetts Library, Love Your Libraries page, and these are notes that students put, we had them up on the wall in the library, but they're also on the website, and so these are some of the things that the kids are saying about their experience with the library. You're the best library ever. Great books. We love our library, thank you. And drawings, you're the best library ever. And then we also have some other testimonials. I wanted to read this one in particular. I love this place. All the library workers are very polite, and all the spaces put me in a zone to work on my assignments. Thanks for this space. I can get my work done. I don't have a space at home. So huge impact for that young person. And then these are some of the many ways we serve the community. Programs across demographics for all ages. We have meeting space for community groups and city departments. Some of you have been there, so you know what that's like. Free Wi-Fi, computers, laptops, hotspots, so that people can have access. Space of respite for those experiencing homelessness. We do see those in our library, and they're in there every day. Woburn's history, we have the archives, and there's a lot of great programming coming out of there. Guided tours, we've been doing a lot of tours this past year to school groups, retirement, home residents, ESOL students, and so many more. In fact, just today, we got a call from a group in Lexington, and they want to come and tour the library. So the word is out there about our beautiful library, and people want to come and see it. We have the Library of Things, which if you're not familiar with it, it's a circulating collection of non-traditional materials. And so, you know, if you needed to use a saw and you didn't want to go buy one, you might get one in the Library of Things. We also have hotspots in the Library of Things. And then we also deliver to homebound residents. So those are some of the things that we do on a regular basis. Then these are some of our community relationships, some of our partners. We work with the Boys and Girls Club on teen programming. We partner with our schools, elementary and middle schools, and our high school too. And then we have a great relationship with the Rotary Club that meets in our building twice a month for their regular meetings. I wanted to touch on the SCI AmeriCorps program because you heard that that program was cut. We had a member serving with us, and it was a great relationship. It really helped with our teen programming, and so now that's going to be gone. I mean, the current member, Ari, has done amazing work. This was our 3rd year being involved with that program, and thanks to the Woburn Public Library Foundation, who funded the program, we were able to do that. But of course, you know, you all know what happened in the news, and so, you know, this program is not going to be available to us anymore. But it's a great program, and it was a great collaboration, and with SCI and with the AmeriCorps. Another thing that we worked on, providing food security. We noticed that there were a lot of teens, especially coming in, starving at the end of the school day. And along with our AmeriCorps volunteer, our AmeriCorps member, I'm sorry, and our teen librarian, our teen team, they were able to start this program for food security. So partnering with FoodLink, and so now we have regular, you know, deliveries that come to the library. And not only does it feed the youth, but also people who come into our building who are experiencing food insecurity because of their situations. They have also been benefiting from this, because when we have fruit, we put it out and it's gone. And so this has been, and this actually was the brainchild of our AmeriCorps fellow, and that this is their capstone program that they were working on. And this program is going to continue in the library. And then I just wanted to show you really quickly, we publish this every month. We do a by the numbers, and it's usually on our website. We have it up in the building. But I just wanted to show you, if you look at 2023, the calendar year, and 2024, the calendar year, you can see in every category the numbers are up. And so again, like the senior center, we're serving a lot more people. You know, the word is out, and so they're coming, and you know, we're happy to be able to provide the programs. I really feel that that's a place where we can bring everybody together. There's something for everyone. So this is very encouraging. And for some people, as you'll see, this is the only place they can come to get Wi-Fi, or to use a computer or a laptop, or to get tech help. So there are lots of needs in our community, and especially as we go through a very difficult period in our country, we're seeing it in the library, and we're happy to help. So now this is a word about staffing, and that's a picture of most of us. See, happy staff, hardworking. I'm so proud of the work that they do. So one of my major goals is to ensure we have adequate staffing, because of we need it, because we have a big building. It's a matter of safety. We averaged 14,731 members per month during 2024. We're open 65 hours a week, and it's important to avoid staff burnout. We're offering increased programs and services, and many of our current staff are overextended. And so here's, since I've been the director, these are some of the things I've asked for support from the city. So in fiscal '23, we had 3 departments within the library that didn't have any leadership. We were short-staffed. We requested a substitute pool so that our member, because our staff was having a very difficult time taking time off, they'd take time off and they would worry about the small group left there carrying the load. So, you know, that was an idea we had that could help relieve the staff so they could, until we got additional positions, that's something that we thought would be helpful, and it has been helpful. In fiscal '24, we got the substitute pool, and then we also began negotiations internally to promote one of our staff members to head the circulation team, which was needed. That was one of the departments that needed leadership. We still needed 2 more department heads. Youth services librarian, we only have 1 children's librarian in the children's room, so when that librarian isn't there, there's not a qualified librarian in the children's room. And another non-professional full-time staff, because we are trying to expand into our makerspace and some of those programs. So in fiscal '25, thankfully, we were able to add a very important position, the head of reference. We still need a head for technical services, and we still need another youth service librarian. So we have been progressing, and you know, we're moving in the right direction. For this next fiscal year, we weren't able to get any new positions. We still need a technical services head and another youth services librarian for sure in the building, as well as 1 more non-professional. So that's where we are budget-wise with this budget. So for the budget, we have no new staff, as I mentioned. We have had minor increases were granted. Our maintenance budget, what we asked for has been approved. Hopefully you all will approve it too. And then we were able to increase the hourly wage for part-time custodians who hadn't had a raise in a while, and you know, it was something that really needed to be done. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for increased funding for the substitute pool, because without the new positions, we're probably going to be needing the pool, you know, just as much or even more than we did this year. And I just wanted you to see how we compare to, I've shown this before, how we compare to libraries around us that are similar to us, and you can see where Woburn is, and in terms of staffing. But I also want you to take a look at the little table on top with the yellow box, where you can see where we are in our programs compared to libraries that are similar to us, and how much more programming we are doing with less staff. So we're really, you know, you're really getting a good bang for the buck, because we're actually outperforming a lot of these surrounding libraries that are similar to us. So looking ahead, we will continue to offer the excellent programs that the community expects, and with the support from the foundation, friends, we hope to keep up the work that we're doing. And on behalf of the staff, I want to thank the city of Woburn, the mayor and the city of Woburn, for what you do to support us. We couldn't do it without the support of the city. And also thanks to the Library Board of Trustees, the foundation, the friends for supporting the work and maintenance of the library. And last but not least, I really want to give a shout out to my hardworking team. They truly rock. They're an amazing group of men and women who come to work every day, and we never know what's going to land. We never know who's going to show up. We never know what we're going to be doing, but these are true professionals, and I feel very blessed to be able to work with this group of people, our team. So I want to thank you for your attention, and every year I ask you to sign up for a library card if you don't have one, so there you go.
Thank you so much.
President Dillon.
Thank you. Thank you, Hermine. I appreciate the presentation. It speaks volumes. The work you and your staff do over there really is amazing. Of course, I go on and on about the Woburn Public Library. One of my favorite things is when someone approaches me and they say they're new to the city. Let me tell you what you gotta do now. So the library is 1 and 2, depending on the day, between that and Horn Pond. And of course, there's so many other, Library Park and the other places are great. But the library truly is a special place. I've been going there since I was a kid, and I still get that feeling of comfort and relaxation when I walk through, whether it be the new building or the old building. And even when my wife and I go on vacation, first stop, day before, let's go get some books to read while we're on vacation. So it really, you do a great job. I have grandkids, and they love the program. My daughter will say, we gotta sign up because the seats go quick. So that's a good problem to have. If you're sitting there and you're putting a program on and 2 people show up, you don't have that problem. And you do full service from senior citizens right down to the toddlers. Your staff does it all. It's great. Since you've taken over there, everyone in the community sees a positive, great vibe in the library. Just the overall attention you put into it. When I am there at night, you're still there, and I know I've called you early in the morning, and you're there. So I'm not sure how much time you're at home.
Well, my husband says he should move a bed in there for
There
me.
you go, to my point.
But I'm not gonna do that.
And I do appreciate, and I'm sure the other counselors as well, when we need a place to meet for a neighborhood meeting, you're always so accommodating. The staff sets it up beautifully, and it's a great place to have a meeting. Thanks again for everything you do, and certainly I want to support you as much as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Ferrullo.
The other night, we had a neighborhood meeting for Councilor Dillon, and we walked in around 6 o'clock. The children's room was packed with people, and they were making these little hand puppets or something.
Yeah.
After the meeting was over, I was walking back to my car, and this little girl ran up to me and said, "Mister, look at this." It just made me feel so good on a weekday night at 6 o'clock. You had a dozen or 18 kids in that room with their parents to see it so alive, and it made me feel really good. Thank you. It was just, it was great. We used to go down on Saturday mornings, my parents would say, "Go down to the library, hang out for the morning." Thanks.
Councilor DeMambro.
Man, you do a great job. Library definitely is, it's the sentinel of the city. A lot of people go there from, 3 years old to well into their senior years. I appreciate, everything you guys do down there, your staff. And I know we talk about this every year. I still have my blue library card. I've been down there several times, and I know you tell me every year, just come down and exchange it out. It's real easy. You say it every year, exact same thing, but I just want you to know I still have my blue card. But thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Councilor Demers.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to thank you because I had my Wyman, the old Wyman School meeting for the community in the library, and we got a very, very unanticipated high turnout. And you and your staff assisted me greatly on the fly when we were looking for microphones, we were looking to get folks seats and everything. So I just appreciate you being that other outlet after hours for us to have community meetings, so that people also feel a little bit more comfortable, I think, in the library rather than chambers sometimes. So it's just a helpful tool to have and helps us do our job. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's our privilege to serve. And I do have the best job in the city.
Any other councilors have any comments?
One last comment. I think Councilor Ferrullo and I still may have the library card with the medal in it.
I do.
Thank you, Hermine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're not that old if I have one.
Next on the agenda is the Health Department. Jack, come on up.
page, Counselor?
Page 47.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hey, Jack.
What's up, Jack?
Sorry, I don't have a presentation for you.
That's okay.
Same one for the last 35 years. Pretty much the same budget as the last 35 years. There's a couple of additions. And one would be an increase in rodent and mosquito control. I have been accomplishing those feats as part of my job. Not that it's in my job description, it's just something that needs to be done, so. When I depart, there isn't gonna be anyone to do the mosquito control that I do, or the rodent complaints that I do, so I'm, had to put a little extra in the rodent and mosquito to take care of what it's gonna cost after I'm gone. And I also, well, there's been obviously changes to the rubbish. Mayor's negotiated a contract with Waste Management. Couldn't hang on to our old way of doing things any longer. Finally, he got a good deal on the carts. I mean, they fit and got some potentials of saving a lot of money. And we'll see how it goes. So far, the recycling's been doing pretty good. I'm interested to see how I'll be around for the first part of the changeover to the trash pickup. I don't foresee many problems. Still generate the same amount of trash. It's just the way we're picking it up. And the only questions will be how tough it is for people to get rid of items that don't fit in their barrel. So we'll see how it works. We're gonna have to pay to get rid of a lot more of the stuff. I'm unsure of how things will work out on the side of the street. I've been, the way I've handled the solid waste contract in the past, obviously you can't continue to do it. It's too expensive. And, we'll see how it goes. I can't wait to see it. And the other issue is, I think I'm putting the money into, I need to do some engineering work up at the landfill. There's an active gas collection system up there that I put in there because back in the day, we were considering putting soccer fields up there. So I put an active gas collection system in there to control any potential odors. And I was also getting blamed by Wood Products for any odors that would be over at the Anderson Transportation Center. Oh, it's not me, it's him. And so we put an active gas collection system in there, and now it's been running for 15 out of the 16 years that it's been up there. It's rotten out.
That long, it has been.
Yeah. The landfill was closed, I think, 2000 something, just early 2000. But I've got 16 years of data on all the environmental wells and all the surface water wells, and that has to continue for 30 years. It's about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of sampling a year. There's monthly monitoring of the active gas collection system because as the stuff under the cap rots, it undergoes anaerobic decomposition. So there's hydrogen sulfide and methane that gets produced in the lack of oxygen. You don't want oxygen in under your cap because you could have a potential for fire. So, under anaerobic conditions, there's no oxygen, so nothing will burn. The methane curve, I'm not generating anywhere near as much methane as when we first started it up. I used to be able to run it as hard as you could until it went out. It would run for weeks at a time. And now it doesn't run it couldn't run for 15 minutes without shutting itself off for temperature. There wasn't enough. There's methane in the wells. There's 15 wells all over, drilled right all the way down into the trash. And there's a big blower that sucks on a distribution system and pulls all the methane in and burns it. Well, half of the wells aren't generating any methane anymore. And there's a real need to, when you can't get it up to temperature, a lot of condensate happens, and when you put H2S, hydrogen sulfide gas, with water, makes sulfuric acid. So it tends to rot. The aluminum blower is rotted out. The pump that squirts the stuff into the fires. The insulation's falling off the inside of the stack. And a new system, you can't possibly put a new system in there like the old one. First of all, it would cost you $1 million, and there's not enough methane there to keep it running to make it worth it. So I petitioned the DEP to eliminate the gas collection system. And in order to do so, they want more data on, they built apartments up where New England Pigments and Resins are. So they want me to prove that no methane is escaping out from underneath the cap before they will allow me to decommission it. So in order to do that, I've got to install a few wells over in that area to prove that I would have liked to passively vent it. I could just take the top off the wells, and they put a little candy cane sticker on it, and most landfills, they just vent to the atmosphere. I tried to get to vent to the atmosphere before. I don't understand their rationale of not letting me vent it and then doing the testing. I don't when I'd like to test it under the conditions that I want, there. So, I'm working on that, and I asked for $60,000 for engineering and well installation, and I gotta take some fence down to get into where the area that I gotta put them in, and I believe the mayor is gonna put that in the capital budget, so it's not budgeted here. So, the $60,000 that you have there now is for environmental sampling, third-party inspections, inspections of the active gas collection system, and the rest of it will be used for engineering to satisfy the DEP's request for the budget. And that's about it.
President Dillon?
A lot going on, brother.
Always, and I'm still here. I think it's been at least 3 years since I've told you that I was gonna leave. But somehow, you know what? They always, whoever said they had the best job? No.
Hey, there you go. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Well,
what
you know what I always say? I don't have a job, I have a position.
There you go.
But, hey, I like it. I'm trying to discuss with the mayor providing some of the rodent and mosquito services that I already do. I am also the animal inspector for the city. That's rabies control. Quarantine dogs that bite, and inspect stables, and that's a already existing stipend. So I'd like to get him to put a little bit more money in there, and I can continue on and be rat czar and mosquito czar for the city, you know, on a part-time basis. And it's, I can certainly do it a lot cheaper than Middlesex County Mosquito Control can do it.
And better,
when you talk
probably.
about rodents, it's, you can't just hire an exterminator. You know, it's like, oh, we got a complaint over here, and they're not gonna have the authority to, you know, go on private property. So it's gonna be ineffective to hire an exterminator. You need a diplomat, you know, or somebody to say, hey, the rodents are in your yard. You do it, you know. So I have a way of going around and putting, I don't try to kill them. I usually assess them. So I'll put a box somewhere and put a couple of pieces of bait in it and go back 2 weeks later and say, there isn't a nibble gone out of the bait, you know. And and I'm not sure, I told the guy from the Conservation Commission, Mr. Jordan, that I would consider using a different style of bait because he's very anti-coagulant. I guess there was a dead bird of prey down the pond that they had tested and found that it had some rat poison in it. So I turn around and say, well, if it comes between a dead hawk or rats running down the aisles of Whole Foods, I think I'll take the dead hawk. You know, I'm not gonna change it. They're legitimate, legal, EPA registered pesticides. You're allowed to use them. So, but like I said, I don't try to kill them. I try to assess. And meaning who's responsible. When I talk to people, it's like, I'm sure that those rodents didn't come up out of that asphalt. You know, they're in your yard. So how you get around, you know, you gotta give them something, you know, to prove that you're doing something about their rodent problems. So I always treat any city properties or easements that are around, or I can use waterproof bait in the catch basin, or so, and I've been very successful doing it.
I appreciate that.
I do realize that, you know, it's a hard one.
It's,
You know, Billy can tell you, you know, you know, you gotta, and I've got some good techniques
Yep.
from, dealing with you at the Herald and Billy over on Prospect Street and down on, off of Garfield. I've got a form letter now that, you know, can inform a little neighborhood, you know, that there's problems and what to do about it. And so that's pretty effective too. So we'll see if that continues. And that's about it.
I appreciate that. His name's actually Jim Joyce, and I know you've worked with him, and I agree, you know, we gotta do something. And I keep an open mind about trying something new, because personally, as you're well aware, Woburn is not the only community with the rodent. It's throughout the Middlesex, if not further. And I think whatever we're doing now probably isn't getting the job done, so we gotta look at different ways to try to take care of it.
I understand, you know, the birth control part. It's like, oh, you saw a rat? Oh, that one can't get pregnant, so you're all set. You know, I don't know
Right,
the
it's all new.
effectiveness of that. And I've looked into the, I've talked with the manufacturer of that particular pesticide, and I believe that it is more poisonous to pets than the anticoagulant type. So, you know, there's
It's a balance.
there's pros and cons,
There you
you know.
go.
But I did tell him that the next time I buy, you know, I'm scheduled to buy all the mosquito and rodent supplies I wait till the end of the year, and I'll treat for mosquitoes the end of this month and into July, because the ingots that I use last for 150 days. And I try to, West Nile virus, they start testing it for it now. They do arbovirus surveillance, and they'll tell me when they get a positive mosquito. They sample mosquitoes out of the wetlands, and they'll tell you, but that doesn't usually happen till the end of August.
Right.
So, I'll get the 150 days, the first good frost, all the mosquitoes are gone, so those ingots will last in the catch basins until the fall.
We thank you for what you do, your staff. Again, Trish, probably the front line, and they do a great job, as well as everyone else. I don't get to talk to them as much as I do Megan and Trish.
I do.
And I know everyone's
do a good job.
hardworking down there and does a great job, and we appreciate everyone's effort. Thank you.
Counselor Papalato.
Thank you. So, just a quick story. 2 times I have requested you to get involved with rodent issues in Ward 2, and you're 2 for 2.
Yeah, geez, thanks.
I don't know if it was your diplomatic skills or actually what it was that.
When it
that-
comes to those, Billy, they're 100%.
100%, that's a
Respond
good
to
average in
everyone.
baseball and in rodent control.
You gotta do it, you
Right.
know?
So I thank you and all the neighbors thank you. You were very successful. You have a do's and don'ts sheet that you published out there. And as soon as you put that out, it took a little bit of time before it kicked in, just as you said. And
Well, there's a lot of peace of mind to that. You know, when I ask you, how many rats have you seen in your life? Anyone?
A lot.
Don't
What?
forget, I did
lot.
property management in Lowell, so.
I'll bet you I've seen maybe 5 of them.
Oh,
Oh,
You know,
15, 16 rats.
I've seen 50 at a time in one location, but usually, I can't, I've never seen them, unless it's a dead one. You know, you don't usually see them. So it's easy to give someone a peace of mind when they're not gonna see another one for God knows how long.
Well, I think what really helped is the letterhead coming out of your department.
Yep.
And telling people, don't do this
It is,
and don't do
it's
that.
peace of mind, Billy.
It was. So thank you for all
Someone knows
that.
you're doing something, and usually it's, it's a $400 bill if somebody's gotta go have something taken care of in their yard. So it's nice when I can go out with a box and put it on city property and check and assess. And when I show them and I got the key and I open up the box and say, oh boy, they ate it all, you need to get an exterminator, or they're not touching it, you're all set. So you can give a lot of people peace of mind.
It is. So I do have a question. This leads to the question that I had. And I look at your maintenance budget. You have a line item called the rodent and mosquito.
Yep.
What I see here is you had $10,000 for the current year we're in.
Correct.
You haven't spent any of it, and you've got $30,000 request for
Right.
next year. So what, the
Well,
numbers seem odd. Can you
I
explain
spend
it?
$10,000 a year. I told you the Altacid that I'll buy 11 cases at $700 a
That's what you were
case.
just talking about. You're gonna be
And
buying
then
this.
I'll buy, 5 or 6 pails of rodent bait, a bunch of boxes, stuff. So I'll spend $10,000 on just the baits and the insecticides.
Okay,
And then the 20 extra thousand in there
right. That's the
is
question.
for the additional services that are gonna be required when I leave. Because I don't believe you'll find a beaut of a health director like me again. You know?
We will not
I mean,
find, we will not
I don't
find
think
one
you'll
just
find
like.
somebody slopping through the mud, putting a rodent box in the swamp. or-
Jack, you broke the mold, my friend,
Yeah,
you
I'm
did.
sure I have, So, I mean, I've fixed the active gas collection system for 15 years because I've been a mechanic for 50.
So that's Jack Insurance? Is that what that is? 20 grand? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Counselor DeMambro.
Jack, thanks for all your bird dogging efforts up there in the landfill. I know you've wrestled with that for 25 years. All up, it's definitely a legacy. I appreciate that.
How much, electricity is being made by those
Yeah,
solar
yeah, yeah.
panels?
Yeah. And I appreciate you keeping an eye on that methane, that burner up there, and all the rodent control and everything else. And I appreciate all your efforts up there, and we all do up in Ward 6. So I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Councilor Mercer Bruin?
Jack, it's been a lot of fun over the last 19 years. Anyway,
I don't think you will.
I'm hoping you will come back and help with the rats and the mosquitoes, because that's an amazing, I hear all the time when people say, oh yeah, when Jack came out and he put the little tablets in the sewer things, it makes a difference. So I hope that's something we pursue. And I remember probably it was about 7 years ago when the whole rat thing sort of first started. And we had a terrible problem in East Woburn, and I brought it to the council, and some of my fellow council members were not too happy that I wanted to talk about rats in public. But at the end of the day, you shared a lot of information. Well, but you shared a lot of information that people didn't realize. You could have the most pristine yard in the entire neighborhood, but everybody, I'll never forget the words you used, everybody has a pile of CRAP somewhere. Look under that pile and you may find rats, even if you have the most beautiful yard. And son of a gun.
The rats will go into your grill and lick the meat juice
Yep.
off of it. They don't care.
But, it was,
So,
we've come a long way since then,
amount
so.
of money in the budget. You've got a pretty smart mayor, and I think, I've got a pretty good deal for him. He likes to save money. It'll cost more if it's.
I'm all for it. You've done an amazing job, and I'm disappointed. I've shared this with the mayor. He knows. I'm disappointed about the waste, the new contract. For many years, I've said, the city of Woburn, the residents, they put up with a lot, right? But they should have the best Cadillac of trash disposal, right?
I agree.
So at the end of the day, a few extra pennies I didn't think was a big deal. But maybe this will work out fine, or maybe all those things that don't get taken away in the trash are gonna end up in a parking lot somewhere. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
I believe that he set the city up to save some significant money.
But I hope those savings don't translate into all that other trash that people can't get rid of somewhere where we don't want it. So fingers crossed.
Just like everything, hey, we'll change it a little if we have to, It's up
Do we
to-
have that luxury?
It's up to the big guy.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
If
I
it's
hope
gonna
so.
cost extra money, that's,
Fingers crossed.
But I'm a big level of service guy, I tweak that contract every time to.
It was getting
eliminate
incredibly
complaints.
expensive, for sure. It was getting expensive.
Back in the day, I would literally get 100 calls a day on trash, back in the Laidlaw days, back in the early 90s, and we had vining. It was horrible, My secretary was good, her head was gonna fall off, So we managed to make the changes that stopped the complaints. But it was an increase in level of service, so we'll see how it works out.
Yeah,
But
fingers
I think
crossed.
we can satisfy everybody, I'm sure.
Okay, anyway, thank you for all your service over the years, Jack.
Jack, thank you for everything you do in your department. We appreciate it. Only thing I ask you is keep an open mind with the use of the second-gen anticoagulants, as President Dillon said.
It doesn't matter to me, that's why I'll do it, If it makes him happy, like I said, I'm not trying to kill everything, and if that's effective, the problem is not knowing. Well, I suppose you can look into your box and see that they ate that type of bait, so, but you're not gonna be able to know, because it's not gonna be dead, You won't see, dead rats around from putting poison out.
Right.
Hey, as long as it makes someone happy, all I wanna do is prove that it's either eaten or it isn't, because I can handle any city property, it's not a problem. It's when you try to make someone take care of their property, and it's gonna cost $400, it's not me, it's them. So, it's, like I said, it takes some diplomacy and mediation rather than do this.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
we'll see.
Any other councilors have comments?
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Take care.
Last but not least tonight, City Auditor Doherty, page 4 in our book.
The Doherty, a tough act to follow.
Good evening.
Charlie Doherty, City Auditor. My budget this year, except for salaries, is level funded. As everyone said tonight, I do want to praise my staff. We do tens of thousands of invoices every year, which we have to check them to make sure they're legit. We follow up with the departments and everything else. The volume is excessively high, and that's because of the work that this community does. We do a lot, and all of the bills come through our office. We have touch points with every department every week. A lot of them call for budget issues, follow up, they want some advice on things. We're there to help them. That's what we do. We're not as much a public-facing office, but internally, we deal with everybody's issues. And I think a lot of the things we do touch, which are important, is the grants, the construction projects, and the budget. I mean, those are the big areas, and we spend every day scrutinizing all of them and making sure that the funding's received, the projects move along, and the budget stays within the parameters we want. Like I said, I think the last couple of years have been challenging because of the growth in the budget itself. We've tried to find the most practical ways to build things into the budget. As you heard tonight, several of the departments said, well, I want a new line item for that. We moved it to a capital project. It's not something that's going to be there for 20 years. So if it's a project and it's going to be done in 2 to 3 years, we'll move it over the capital side. It's more appropriate to do that so it doesn't become a legacy cost in the budget that stays there for years. But other than that, I mean, if you have any questions about my budget or any of the other aspects of the budget itself, I'd be more than willing to answer.
President Dillon?
Thank you. Charlie, you and the staff, great job. Not just an auditor either. I know I'm not the only city councilor who calls you and asks you about questions on the everyday goings-on and what we gotta deal with. You're always there. A prime example is, I had a meeting a week and a half ago that I thought I could use a little help on a Wednesday night, and I asked you if you could be available at 6:30, and I asked you, I think, the day before, and it wasn't a pause. Absolutely, I'll be there. You sat there until well into 8:30 at night, helped out. And, that shows your commitment and your knowledge speaks for itself. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, and I mean, I appreciate the work you guys do. I mean, I've been there myself, so I know the work that we have to do for our constituents and the community as a whole. And, when you ask me to come to a meeting like that, we bring our knowledge to it to help you out. Because
Thank
we
you.
want to all be on the same team, and I think that's helped a lot in how we've dealt with stuff over the last.
Well, you certainly proved that over and over again.
Council Ferrullo?
Charlie, thank you so much for your responsiveness and answering my questions and understanding my questions, trying to get them out. But thank you for not only what you do, but how quickly and how responsive you are to it. Particularly when I'm trying to dig into something, you always come up with answers for me. And it's not just the last 5 years, it's the last 15, 20 years you've helped me with it.
I mean, I've had the pleasure to work with you both as a department head and as an alderman, and I know the diligence you put into everything. And believe me, from my perspective, that's something I'm very happy to have, because every time a department head actually shows the insight, know their budget, plan forward, it helps all of us do our job.
You know, tough taskmaster I was working for. Thank you,
Councilor
Charlie.
Demers?
Thank you. Charlie, thank you for everything. I know your turnaround has been great. Whenever we've had committee meetings or city council meetings, and I've mentioned wanting some data or some layouts just to see kind of like a more in-depth version of looking inside the onion of the budget. You've been very responsive in providing that. Also, just thank you for your willingness to spitball ideas and how we can do things maybe outside the box or differently, because I think those discussions go a long way, and when you have a willing participant and someone you can work with, we can find ways of saving the taxpayer money. I think it goes a long way, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Mercer Bruin?
Thank you. Charlie, we were elected to the city council the first year together. It was amazing serving with you on the council, you as president of the council. I once in a while will tell my fellow colleagues, when we've had a late night on finance night, I say, well, I think the latest one was about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's legit. We were here till 2 a.m. under your guidance. You're a fierce advocate for every penny, and you always have been. I'm grateful that you're on that side of the podium now, working with us. And I know anytime I call you about anything and ask a question, I always get an answer I can trust. Always. And I am so grateful for that. So keep up the good work.
Councilor DeMambro?
Charlie, I just have one question. The budget analyst, whereabouts are you on that? I know
Yeah,
we
no, it's a-
definitely probably need
That's
it.
a good
and-
question. It's been a position we've desperately needed for several years. Two challenges. One was where to put the person. We really didn't have the room in our office. As we move 3 departments over to the new annex building, we will be readjusting the size of our office and we'll be able to put that body in there. I hope to, as soon as the new budget kicks in, start looking for a new person, because I'd like to have someone in that role working in August, someone that can take the budget we pass as a community and start going through it, following up with departments. It would give us that next layer of oversight too, and planning, you know, someone that can focus on this, focus on some of the department's issues, and really add some value to it. But my point is, I know it's been 2 years now we've had the position, but we didn't have the space to put the person. So,
so it's-
now that we will have that space come July, and I want to hire as soon as I can to get someone into that position.
And hopefully, and we've heard from other department heads, you can find the right person with the qualifications to fill that position.
Again, because what we do is, there's a lot of needed experience to go to it, you know, and someone that works well with spreadsheets, someone can do a lot of data dives. I mean, that's the type of thing we need, and you're not just gonna pick anybody off the street to do that. You need the certain person that has that ability and the willingness to do that type of work, because it's not everybody's favorite type of work, but there's people out there, and I think the salary is appropriate to get someone, you know, that we can get and do a good job for the city.
Well, and I also want to just thank you for, I've sat in a lot of budget meetings, and I've also sat in the department head meetings on Thursdays in Mayor Concannon's office, and I thank him always. And anytime he asks you for a number, you're Charlie on the spot to the dot with the number. I mean, it always amazes me. I just sit in the back, and I appreciate how you can always come up with the number or come up with the solution on where the money can go or how it goes and so on and so forth. So I appreciate everything, and I appreciate you, running that office. It really is. It's a load off our minds because we know we got the right person on the numbers. So thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Charlie, thank you always for being there to answer questions. I know being the chair of finance, I'm always bothering you, asking you questions about funding and different things. And then if I have a question on when doing audits on a Monday, you're always there and you have an answer. But I do have one question, speaking about the budget. If the budget were to be passed tonight, what would you expect the tax increase to be, roughly?
I think as John Conley had spoke earlier, we're still in the process of pulling all that information together, so I mean, it would be an estimate. But I mean, I think we've always felt that a good number would be about $42 a million. So I mean, if we take budget passed tonight about 13.5 million, you're talking somewhere around the 565, 570, somewhere around there. Now, that, how it plays out with the new residential growth we have, overall new growth, local receipts and stuff, it could be a little bit lower. I think last year we had thought we were gonna be over 600. We ended up coming in around 588 last year. So I mean, that shows you how, even though it's a conservative estimate, I'm hoping that number will come down based on the other things that affect it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks,
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
And as a follow-up, and if you
Second.
guys have any questions between now and when we have the vote on it, please feel free to reach out, and we'll give you any information we can.
Thanks, Charlie.
There's a motion on the floor.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 7:56.
Thank you.